Welcome back to the Light Skinema podcast. This is episode 23, where today we're going to be reviewing one of my favorite films. I know Jathan likes it a lot too, is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino. But before we get into the review, of course, Jathan, it's been a minute since we recorded, almost 3 weeks, I think. So what's been going on, movie watching, life? How you been doing?
Yeah, it's been a fortnight. Just working a lot in school and with my internship. I just got off work as we're recording this right now, so I'm just having my coffee right now. And now that I mention it, it's kind of scary because I feel like I'm turning into my parent a little bit. Like my mom will always have a coffee right after work at like 5 o'clock, and it's like 5 right now, so that kind of just threw me for a loop there because I was like, dang, I'm like getting unk now, but it's been good. But there's been a lot of movie watching lately, and I gotta be honest, like ever since I got A-list, like it's just been so easy for me to. I think I watch more movies in theater than at home, to be honest, and that's up to you whether or not like that's how you prefer to watch it. But honestly, after a long day or a long week, like that is just everything to me when I can just go home, drop my shit off from work or school, and then just drive to the theater and just zone the fuck out. But if you want to pull up
Not to
this,
cut you off, how far is the theater from your house?
it's about. Let me just pull it up in maps because I go to the AMC in Mission Valley a shit ton. It's about 15-minute drive from me, so nothing bad.
Mm.
And when there's like no traffic, it's like less than that, maybe like 8 to 9 minutes. But
That's the one you've been going to for years, right?
yeah,
Like since you've been in San Diego?
it's the one closest to me. They have another one nearby at this other mall called Fashion Valley, but I don't know. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
closest one, so I've always booked it. And there's another one in National City that and I think is the best one. I forget what the name of that AMC is, but I saw Kill Bill there. Let me see which one it is. It's Plaza Bonita, right? So I definitely think that's the better one out of the three. But once you go past
Mm-hmm.
that, we start entering 10-mile ranges. But uh, as for recent watches, I don't know if you have it pulled up on stream. Okay, you do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just been a lot of honestly a mixed bag. I've been showing my roommates a lot of movies. 21 Jump Street was one. If you can pull up Mulholland Drive, I don't know if we've ever talked about Mulholland Drive on the podcast, but
Oh
just
yeah, when we did Lost Highway, and then I think you talked about it another time when you went over like your film watching. But
mhm,
yeah, go for it.
just honestly, like I forgot like how crazy this movie is. Like, um, I threw it on for my roommates who have never seen this film. And if you've never seen this film, then you'll know. I guess you won't know, but um, just the craziness that goes into this movie, very hard to understand on first watch. I am a guy who's not gonna like spoil movies for you, even if we're in like a group setting. I'll just be like, you have to figure it out on your own. So I think my roommates were a little challenged by that at first, but once like we hit the hour and a half mark in this film, they're like, okay, like this is kind of interesting to me. Like I kind of want to put this together. So it was fun to see their theories, and we had a nice little 30-minute discussion on about the film and possible interpretations. And I think it's interesting because we've been talking a lot in class about what is cinema and what we kind of look for in movies, and sometimes we want like a simplified narrative that's pretty straightforward, and then other times we want something that the filmmaker slash artist is like asking us for our interpretation. So that this movie's a great example of that, and just wonderful acting, looks beautiful. I wrote this in my interview, but that Spanish song toward the end of the film when they go to Club Silencio, holy crap, like that is beautiful. I had to watch that the next morning just to be blessed. But love
Sure.
this thing. I have it at 4.5. I think I like Lost Highway just a tad more, but that movie's gonna be due pretty soon too for a rewatch because right after that, my roommate asked me let's watch it. But um, other films, we have. Let's talk about Wuthering Heights. I have not seen any other adaptation of this, whether it is book, film. This is my first ever introduction to the story, and I think there is like a good story underneath this, but I don't know. It's just it really was not for me, and a lot of people compare it to like fan fiction level writing or like some Tumblr like love story shit, and I can see what they mean by that because it's just it's very over the top in how they portray their love for each other, as well as just some scenes with Jacob Elordi's character that I honestly don't think they try to do him too much service here. Like Margot Robbie's character, I can understand a little bit more where she's coming from, but Jacob Elordi, I don't know what happened to him once he grows up. But I asked my mom about this film because this is her favorite. I think it's her favorite story ever. I'm sorry if I am botching that, but she did
Sure.
explain to me that there are just large chunks of the story missing from this. And she didn't see this, but I gave her a brief synopsis and she was asking about Kathy's brother, who I guess is the main antagonist in the book slash original adaptation, and he's just nowhere to be seen in this. So she was like, all right, like I'm definitely not seeing it now, but I watched it on Valentine's Day, and I can't say that I'm gonna be coming back to it.
Yeah. What did you not like about Elordi's character?
Uh,
Like when you said when he came back, I think you said.
I think as a kid, like he was definitely more rootable, especially after they show him the scene of him being abused by his father, and he clearly like has attachment issues, but he just cranks it up to 11 when he becomes an adult into this like red pill male who like I don't know, he just isn't likable to me at all.
Yeah, I don't once he flips the switch and does that certain thing with Catherine's, I guess, sister-in-law, that's not good. But I would say both of them, I think both of them are terrible, disgusting people. I couldn't I would say you're pretty much right. When he comes back is pretty much when I stopped rooting for both of them. But I think Catherine's just bad. I think she's terrible to like her maid help person. I forget the character's name, but she's awful to her, and it's just I don't know. It was hard to root for either of them. I
Hmm.
think the best part of the film, honestly, is when it was the kid versions of
Yeah.
them, and Owen Cooper played the young Heathcliff. Owen Cooper, he was in Adolescence on Netflix, and he won a bunch of awards for that. I think he's a great young actor, but I think that part of the story had me much more engaged, and I actually like it felt more real. Like their love felt more real, more innocent. And then when they get older, I didn't really care for it. I don't know how your theater was. My theater seemed to enjoy it. It seemed like the people that were in there as well seemed like they read the book, or at least maybe read it or watched a different film. I watched the original a couple days before I went to see it, and I think I liked the original. I definitely like the original film
Hmm.
more. But yeah, I don't have any connection to the source material, kind of like you said. But yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah,
I was expecting a lot more.
I thought there was a story underneath there that I could have enjoyed, but no, it was just ultimately this interpretation wasn't for me. So like they opened up with like one of the worst openings to
Oh my
the
god,
film, like just right off the
that was
jump.
terrible.
That was fucking that's some SNL shit.
Yeah, because you think it's gonna be something totally different, and then it was
That
just
technique wasn't the issue, but, like, okay, I'm gonna spoil the opening because I explained this to my mom, and her jaw was just dropped because it's, like, nothing like the original, I guess, and it starts with this man being hanged, and we see Margot Robbie's character, and I think Heathcliff is there, right? Um,
yeah, I think so.
they're watching this happen, and I don't know, they're just like kind of entertained by it. And we see like someone's head chopped off by a guillotine, and they're like all celebrating. It's like I had no clue like where we were going from there, and it felt like it's just it was awful.
Yeah, it was weird.
I'm taking an independent cinema class right now in college, and this film is an indie film, small budget, but the professor was friends with the writer producer, so we had the opportunity to watch a screening of the film and then afterwards have a Q&A with him. And I don't know about you, Nick, but this was my first like real Q&A with like someone within the industry, so I thought it was like pretty interesting. And the movie itself, like I didn't think was the greatest. The premise is interesting. It's like these group of redditors who uh, they try to basically pull Luigi Mangione on this crypto billionaire who like tanks the stock of this meme coin they're all invested in. But I thought it was interesting because I got to ask a question to him about um, because he shopped the film at Sundance slash South by Southwest, and I was wondering because me myself, I'm like I myself might become an independent filmmaker down the road and might have to scrounge up a small budget movie and then pitch it. But I asked what it was like one going to the festival, not knowing you're getting a distribution deal, and two like how are these deals being structured these days, and he went into depth. He said that it was tense for him because well he's part of the creative team. He was the writer producer of the film, so he wasn't exactly in the talks all the time about the distribution deals with these big companies. But I gotta imagine it's going to be pretty nervous when you sink so much money, time, effort into something and you have no idea whether or not it's even going to get picked up. And he said only two films from Sundance and South by Southwest got picked up, and his was one of them. So he just kind of went more into depth on MGs, which is a minimum guarantee. I know this is a lot of film business talk, but it's how these deals are structured. You have these group of investors pulled together, and you make something called a minimum guarantee, which is a deal you make to make sure that everyone gets their money back. Because otherwise, who's going to want to invest in your film? So I thought it was a good learning experience and just a good opportunity for me to have the chance to talk to industry professionals, especially in something that I potentially may be going down myself. So, oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that the movie was filmed and produced in Massachusetts. So I didn't get the chance to ask like what company or anything, but just some
Yeah.
cool stuff going on there.
Yeah, I've never been to a in-person Q&A for a film. I've been to some screenings with live stream Q&As, but yeah, I never been in a in-person one.
Hmm. And just some other stuff I've been watching for school. A Woman is a Woman. It's a musical. We were studying for looking at counter cinema, which is like abrupt techniques that classical Hollywood wouldn't typically use in order to, I guess, make the viewer more analytical about what's going on screen. Like, there's a lot of fourth wall breaking going on, and I didn't give it a rating, but I thought it was pretty interesting and cute, and it was an hour 20, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. Jean Luc Godard is the name of the director. and he's done a bunch of pieces. French filmmaker.
Yeah, I want to watch a lot of his films. I have not in my actual watch list, but more on my mental watch list that I want to watch. A lot of them are on HBO too.
Hmm. And real quick, this isn't something I've watched, but just something that came up in conversation with the class, and it's kind of relevant to the film we're going to talk about today, Rosemary's Baby with Roman Polanski. We talked a lot about John Cassavetes, who is an actor slash director, and he was a massive pioneer in independent cinema. So I don't know if you knew this, Nick, but he also directed a bunch of pieces.
Oh yeah, I just ordered A Woman Under the Influence on Criterion
Okay, you're gonna have to let me know.
with the gift card you gave me.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah.
You're gonna have to educate me on that.
Yeah, I've never seen any of his director films, but I've seen him obviously in being an actor in some movies.
How was he?
He's good. I think from what I've seen, The Killers he wasn't in it a good amount, but he is pretty good in it. But Rosemary's Baby, I if people remember, if you remember, that was in my top 10 films for horror films of all time. That movie's amazing, and his character is in it is the husband of what's her name? Why am I blanking on her name? Oh, Rosemary. I thought she had a different name, but yeah, he's the husband of Rosemary. And he, yeah, without going into it, it's a interesting role. I'll just say that, very interesting.
But yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah. So I think the last time we talked
I want
was
to
like
say February
February
5th or
6th.
6th. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been I've been going crazy with movies. Just like I said, I got my school schedule down, so that leaves me my room to movie watch. I don't even know what to get into or where to start. I'm definitely not going over everything, but let's see here. I'll start with the in theater watch. Might as well talk about some of that stuff. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. This was a film that the trailers really didn't do anything for me. I just thought it was going to be kind of your goofy sci-fi film that comes out during the winter. Gore Verbinski directed this. He's the director of like all the Pirates of the Caribbean, Rango. So
The
The
Ring.
Ring, I know you've seen that, Jathan. Yeah. Um, he's a well-established director, obviously, but this film was a lot of fun. Obviously, it tackles like if people seen it, AI and a bunch of stuff like that, but it does it in a really good way because I think a lot of the AI movies that come out nowadays are just so over the top, and I just don't like them. This one was really good. Sam Rockwell, he's amazing. I haven't seen enough of his roles and work, but he was phenomenal in this thing. And this movie was a ton of fun. It wasn't too long. It was a surprise because honestly, there hasn't been a lot of movies this year that have come out that have really made like an impression on me. But this is certainly one of them. I had a blast with it, honestly.
I just booked my reservation to go see it this Sunday.
Oh, good. It's a lot of fun. I haven't had that much fun in a while in a movie. And then for Valentine's Day, I didn't get to all the films I wanted to, but one that I absolutely had to was Love and Basketball. This was my first watch, and it was much more heartfelt than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be more of just like especially because how it starts. They're like children, and it goes through all these chapters of their lives. I thought it was just going to be like they were like childhood sweethearts, and it was just going to be kind of just showing their life through these different stages. But without spoiling it too much, there's definitely bumps in the road that happen, and I think it was done really well. I definitely I think what's his name? Omar Epps' character Quincy. I think Quincy was you know a little bit on the little delusional side. I'll say that. I think he made some poor decisions at certain moments, but it is a rom-com. They get a little dramatic, so it is what it is, but I had a good time with it. It's just one of those classic rom-coms, or not rom-com, but romance movies that I think was long overdue for me to watch. Next is Bones and All, which I did watch actually on Valentine's Day. This movie was way deeper and crazier than I was expecting. Luca Guadagnino did this, obviously. Challengers and Call Me by Your Name, two of his more bigger films, but this is one that it's been in the watch list for a while, and I was pretty impressed with it. It's one of those films that I think will get better on a rewatch. I don't know when that rewatch will be, but it was really interesting. I think the actress's name, yeah, Taylor Russell, she was amazing. I don't think she got nominated for this in any awards, but she was really phenomenal. And I don't know how much you know about this film, but what I knew about it is that there's cannibalism that takes place, but it's not in the way that you probably think, which I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But it turned into something that's a little bit more mythical and magical than what I was expecting. I don't mean that in a good way towards cannibalism, but it's just like, let's just say it like this, like vampires. Vampires need to feed on people. So in that kind of light, they're not vampires, but it's kind of in that
You
sense.
made it sound like it was
And
going to
it
be
just
Disney. Like, oh, let's go.
no, no, I mean in like the not real sense, like with vampires and stuff. But it's really good. This is obviously a Timothy Chalamet movie that I hadn't seen. He is in it for a good amount, but he doesn't play a character that is really at the helm. He obviously Timothy's a leading actor, but yeah, he's good in this. Definitely not like one of his performances that I think is his best, just because he's him in the story is not that much of a presence. But Taylor Russell was unbelievable, and like I said, I don't know when I'm gonna be rewatching, but I think when I do, it's gonna drastically rise in ratings for sure. Uh, See what else we got. Blade Runner. I'll quickly go over. I've seen this film before. It had been a very long time. Um, and I still love it. I give it a 4. I did have it at a 4.5. I did bump it down a little bit. I think the film, and normally I don't say this, I just think it's too long. I think it definitely gets a little. I don't know. There's no moment where I'm like, oh, this is like a drag, but I just think it was unnecessarily long. I think the original was only like 2 hours. I'm pretty sure this one's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, I just think it's a little too much. But once Ryan Gosling's character Kay and Harrison Ford's character Deckard meet up, I think it's amazing. And I love the you've seen this before. Yeah, you've seen it.
I've seen it
I love the
twice.
scene where
I honestly really
okay.
agree with that sentiment. That's a little too long because I had showed it to
Yeah.
my roommate one time because I really liked it. Don't get me wrong, but I definitely think by the time he gets to Harrison Ford, like am falling asleep just a little bit. But
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's a little too much of Gosling just kind of doing his job and doing the certain things, and we've already seen that before with the original. Like we know how the replicants work and all that, so I don't know. I think Denis obviously did this, and I think he did a lot of things really well for a legacy sequel. But one of my favorite scenes in any film is the first baseline test that Kay does, where it pretty much just they do that to see if replicants are kind of going off their path or if they're staying kind of true to their mission. And I think I love that scene. I think Gosling did an amazing job in that. Um, I guess lastly, no, two more things. Sorry, I'll try to go quick. Aliens in the Attic. I don't know if you ever watched this as a kid, Jathan, but I just bought the Blu-ray a few days ago and I just rewatched it. This thing is just a blast. And this little shitty film from 2009 has better CGI than half the films that come out today. So, oh yeah, you have seen it.
yeah, this is like I'm associating this film with like a bunch of others that I've seen during this time period. Like I don't know if you remember G Force. It's like the
Of
hamsters
course,
in
yep.
space, and I mean I could go on a tangent, but very vague
I
memory.
love this film. Yeah, I used to watch this. I've seen this film, I don't know, like probably over 20 times. As a kid, I watched it on repeat. And actually, some of the voices in here is like pretty cool. J.K. Simmons is the main alien, like the main big bad guy. And then Thomas Hayden Church is one of the other ones too. And Josh Peck is like the little like kid alien.
J.K. Simmons is in everything. Like I forget,
He's in
it might
everything.
have been you that told me this that he was the yellow M&M.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he still is, I think, too. Um, but I have a new 5-star alert. I don't even remember the last time I gave something 5 stars, other than I think maybe One Battle is my most recent 5-star film, and obviously that came out last year. But this film is called Secret and Lies by Mike Lee. I've seen three like Mike Lee films now. I've seen Naked, Hard Truths, which came out last year, and then Secret and Lies. This film destroyed me, absolutely destroyed me. And this is actually the other film I used with the gift card that Jathan gave me for Christmas for Criterion. I bought it instantly after I watched it. And this minute it comes in the mail, I'm going to be rewatching because this film is so unbelievably just raw. And Mike Lee has another film that I just said, Hard Truths, that is very much in that similar vein, where it's just, there's obviously actors in it and the story's fake, but I've never felt emotions and they just feel so real. You feel like you're watching somebody's life. And this film pretty much is a mother who is, raising her daughter. And this is not spoiling it. I'm pretty sure it's in the description. She finds out that she has another daughter. And if you're watching the video right now, you can obviously see the mother is white and her daughter's black. So that adds another layer and dynamic to it. And it's just so unbelievable. Like, I know, Jathan, you kind of like these very personal, kind of heavy stories as well. I recommend this a lot. It's on HBO. Uh, yeah, it's on HBO. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
I was crying. I had to pause it. I'm not even joking. I had to pause it twice and just be like, I need to calm down. Like, I need to take a breath because this is too much. This is just too much. But it's freaking unbelievable. And like I said, I'll pop it up on screen real quick too. Hard Truths right here came out 2 years ago now. This film destroyed me too. I don't even want to go back to the film because how much it destroyed me. It's just unreal. And the actress that is in both of them is Marion Jean Baptiste. She's one of the best actresses I've ever seen. She's unbelievable. Such a good film.
A trend on.
I've been having this.
Go for it.
No, go. Say what you're going to say.
A trend on TikTok, because it kind of reminded me of what you just said. A trend I've been seeing on TikTok with movies has been a 10 out of 10, but I can't recommend it because it's too sad.
No, I recommend. I want people to watch this just so it gets even more love. It came out a while ago, but yeah, I had it in my HBO watch list for probably since I saw Hard Truths, which was like a year and a half ago, a little over. No, probably like a year, but it was unbelievable, man. And I don't think I added it to my all-time favorites list on Letterboxd yet. I'm gonna do that right now
Wow.
because I'm telling you, man, it's unbelievable.
I'll take your word for it.
I'll do
Like,
that.
I don't think you
I'll do
hand
that,
that
but-
title to just any film. So,
No, the rating film thing is just like, it's just the difference between a 5 and a 4.5 is not crazy. It's just more so the vibes of it, what I feel. But I was blown away. I was gonna watch something after, like I was planning to watch another film that night, but I was like, I can't. I just had to decompress and just absorb what the hell I just watched. I haven't even written my review yet because I'm gonna really get into it. Once I write it, I'll probably write it on my computer, but it was great. I have a few movie news things. I know we're yapping for a while. We're not even
No,
in the
it's
review
been a
yet,
minute.
but real quick. Yeah, real quick. The Toy Story 5 full trailer came out yesterday. I don't know if you watched it because I know you're not a big trailer person, but
I watched
you did
it.
watch it?
uh,
What are you thinking about it so far?
one, why is Woody bald? And two, I can't say that like I'm jumping out of my seat like this is oh my god, but it interests me. I think it's a story that is going to be contemporary. So
Yeah. I think it looks pretty damn good. I can't lie to you. I mean, when it got announced, I was like, of course I'm going to see it, but like, I could do without another Toy Story. I don't need more Toy Stories, but it looked pretty damn good. I can't lie to you. I think the story, we've talked about how we don't love Toy Story 4. That one very much just felt like a cash grab. But I feel like this one is going to have, that old Pixar great story feeling. That's what it felt like to me. I don't know if you gathered all that, but I'm pretty excited for it.
Um, Again, the trailers never really be like, okay, this is gonna be up there with the other Pixar movies for me personally, but I definitely think it's a story worth telling, and
Hmm.
I was right there with you in the party that like, okay, like we can go a while without another Toy Story, but I think this is a story that should be told. So I'll be there. I'll be watching it. I will say that like it's sad to say, but the actors like are I can hear it in their voices. They're getting a little bit up there. So
Yeah, I know. Obviously, Don Wrinkles. Yes, yeah, Don Wrinkles. He did Mr. Potato Head. Obviously, he's passed now, so they replaced him. Um, but yeah, the core people are still there, which is nice. But yeah, quickly, I just got a few more things. There's a lot of actors that have passed away this year, already into the new year. I know I'm probably missing some, so don't think I'm like disrespecting them. These are just a few that I had on the top of my head that have passed. Catherine O'Hara, who obviously most notably known for her role in Home Alone as Kevin's mom, but she's done a lot of great things. I just actually, this is what I forgot. Sorry, this is a little side tangent. I watched The Studio on Apple TV. I recently got Apple TV. If you know me, I don't like TV shows. I don't really watch them, but The Studio was great. I think you talked about it with me, J Thumb, when it was first coming out,
yeah,
saying that you thought it looked interesting. I don't know if you ever watched it, but I thought it was great. I think Seth Rogen is a phenomenal writer, and I think he wrote and directed pretty much all these episodes, and obviously he's the lead actor in it.
last
Phenomenal show.
semester
I can't wait for season two.
last
Yeah.
semester I took a TV writing class and we were split into three groups and 5 person in each group, and the studio was one of the shows that
Hmm.
we wrote a hypothetical season for. I personally wasn't in it. I wrote Euphoria, which I'm sure you're gonna get to in just a second here, but yeah, that was one of the
Hmm.
shows.
Yeah, really good. And I only said that because Catherine O'Hara is in the studio, and she had a big part in the studio, and she was really, really great in that show. One of her best performances that I've seen. So R.I.P. to her. Another big name, Robert Duvall. Obviously, he's most notably known for the Godfather movies and Apocalypse Now. His filmography, I'm not that deep in. I'll definitely get to more. But he is. I just watched The Godfathers a couple weeks ago. Godfather 2 and Part 2 in theaters, and he's phenomenal. So another great actor. He lived a long life though. He was 95, which I think he was born in like 30 something, which when I saw that I was like that's crazy to think about. But yeah, RIP. Another one that didn't it only got announced I think yesterday, but I think he passed away actually on Valentine's Day is Tom Noonan from Manhunter and Heat. He's the man that plays Francis Dollarhide in Manhunter. So I've obviously spoken about that film a lot on here. That performance is unbelievable. The first time I watched it, I was terrified. I've read the book as well. I love that story, and he did a phenomenal, phenomenal job playing Francis Dollarhide. And it's sad to see that he passed, and then obviously the news didn't break for a while, so it was sad to nobody really knew for like a week or so. And he also is actor, director, writer, and there's a movie of his that I saw a few months ago called "What Happened Was" or something like that. He wrote that movie, directed it, starred in it, edited it, did the um, what did he do? He did the score for it, and I think he might have done the cinematography with it a little bit. I don't think obviously he wasn't the main cameraman because he was starring in it, but he's definitely an actor that is. I really love his work. And then I think what I think is the saddest one, due to the disease he had, and I think he just passed yesterday, is Eric Dane, who obviously most notably known for his role in Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria. I think those are his two most popular. But he had ALS, and I remember when it was announced that he got it. It wasn't that long ago, and his decline was pretty rapid, and it was kind of known that this day would kind of come for him. But obviously, I can't imagine knowing that feeling as a family member and friend of him. But he was obviously a pretty big activist on ALS once he got announced. So yeah, that was pretty sad. I'm sure that's what you were referring to when you were talking about Euphoria as well, Jathan.
It was. I'm just looking at it now that he did shoot his scenes for the show, so that's cool. But it's a
Hmm.
shame. Rest in peace. Just crazy to think there's so many actors that on that show alone that have been dying. But wild times we're
Yeah.
living in, man.
Hmm. Yeah, I know there's been some other people as well. Like I said, once again, it's not me forgetting them or disrespecting. I just didn't write them down off the top of my head, and I don't want to, butcher their name or not mention what they were in. But yeah, it's because I feel like we're at the time now where a lot of actors that we love from older movies are getting old in real life. So I feel like this is kind of unfortunately what we're going to start to see, which sucks because their films just mean a whole lot to a bunch of people, and they certainly mean a whole lot to us. But on some more positive notes, like I said, I'm sorry for rambling. There's just a lot of news that I wrote down that I wanted to mention. We have a lot of TV shows coming out. And like I said, I'm not a TV person, but some of these that are coming out in the next few months, I'm looking forward to a lot. I'll start with Ted Season 2. I know, Jathan, you just rewatched the first season. I'm pretty sure it comes out the first week of March, right? If I'm not wrong, this new
March
season.
5th, marked on the
Yeah, I'm
calendar.
very excited. They actually filmed this in Massachusetts. They actually filmed I'm not gonna say where, but they filmed at my dad's work. I'm not gonna say what it is, just for the purpose of privacy. But yeah, so this show, me and Jathan both love the movies. I think the show is better than both movies. I don't know how you feel
I
in
agree
terms of
with you.
rating them,
I
but I
think
think
the
I
comedy
think the
works
show's
better.
unbelievable. Yeah, I'm very very excited for that. For as far as Amazon Prime, they have pretty big releases coming up this spring. They have The Boys final season. I don't know if you're a fan of The Boys. I'm personally not. I tried watching it a couple times, but I know that's a massive show.
Uh, I think my love has wavered over the years, but I can't lie to you. I'm pretty interested in at least Anthony Starr because he's always been a standout from that show, and I'm sure everyone's seen his clips as Homelander.
Mm. Then the one that I'm head over heels for, can't wait. I'll be posting a video for every episode is Invincible season 4. Cannot fucking wait. That show means so much to me. I love the comics. I love the character Invincible. I know this show, I know your love has very wavered over, gone back and forth. Will you be watching season 4 though?
Um,
You can
it,
be honest.
if there's a standout episode, I'll check it out, but uh, I can't say that I'm gonna be binging the entire season like you will. But like I watched who's the dude he fights at the end of season 3?
Conquest. I just watched that episode last night.
Yeah, I saw that episode. That's pretty good. But yeah, I'm more of the hype moments and aura kind of guy with that show.
We gotta get you. We gotta get you locked in. And then this one I'm not. This one I'm not sure when it comes out, but Spider Noir. Um, Pretty sure it's in the spring, so the next few months. I don't know how you feel about this one, Jathan. I think I'm gonna give it a shot. If I don't like it, I won't finish it, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I think it's interesting.
If you like it, I'll check it out. Um,
Okay.
I I haven't been watching this show since like day one, but my roommates have been putting on Abbott Elementary, and I don't know if you've
Mm,
seen that show, Nick, but like
just clips.
it's like the weirdest show to watch. Like if you're just hanging out and then that just gets put on because it's like it's literally like just a background noise type of TV show, but like that's the point of it. If that makes sense, like the humor is so dry that that is like the engine of the show.
I feel like it's like The Office. Like they're aware they're getting
That's
filmed.
exactly like what it is like, but I didn't even watch The Office when that was airing or since then, so
You haven't seen The Office yet?
no.
Oh man.
I've seen
I mean,
clips.
when it was airing, we were children. It was like in the early 2000s, but no, that The Office is great.
You know what the
And
one
I was a hater on it.
you know what the one episode of The Office I've seen is when they play basketball. That's the one I've seen.
Yeah, that episode's funny. That's very funny. Then last little movie TV news thing is this Sunday is the BAFTA Awards, which I haven't watched it live before, but I will be watching this year. This is I guess the first of the last three major awards of the season. I feel like this award season has been so fucking long, but yeah, the BAFTA Awards. I'm looking forward to it. I think Jathan, I think this is our last shot to see Chase Infinity maybe win an award. So I'm praying to God. Oh, a major award. She's won some smaller stuff, but I'm praying that she can bring it home. But yeah, that's all I got for movie stuff.
You know what?
Movie
If
news
she
stuff.
doesn't, then just put that energy to the next role. I gotta keep it pushing.
Oh yeah, she's got it. But yeah, all right. That was a long yap sesh. But like I said, me and Jathan haven't caught up in a while, and obviously we haven't recorded in a while. But very much what I'm looking forward to. This is a film that I've been wanting to talk about since we started the podcast. It is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, directed by Quentin Tarantino. It came out in 2019, which is one of the best years in cinema history as far as I'm concerned.
Wait, can we hang on that for a second? Because that's kind of a big statement. What else came out that year?
Oh, I'll pull it up right now. Let me just do it on Letterboxd. Letterboxd probably has a good year. I mean, a good list, sorry. It's slowly loading, sorry.
I'm looking at some of it right now. Yeah.
I'm not claiming it's my personal favorite. I'm just saying I think objectively, I think a lot of people kind of have a similar feeling. I'll just rifle off some names. We got 1917, Parasite, Marriage Story, Avengers Endgame, one of the John Wicks, The Lighthouse, Ford v Ferrari, Knives Out, Midsommar, Joker, Jojo Rabbit, The Irishman, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Little Woman, obviously Once Upon a Time, Toy Story 4, Us,
Uncut
Klaus, Booksmart. Yep, Uncut Gems. Sorry about that. I missed that. Ad Astra, I haven't seen yet, but I know a lot of people love it. The Last Black Man in San Francisco, Ready or Not, Dark Waters, Far From Home, Spider-Man, The King, Just Mercy. Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know if it's my personal favorite year in cinema history. I would have to do some more
That kind of brings me back.
looking into that, but I think it's definitely up there for sure. Definitely up there.
That's crazy. I was like a different human being in 2019, which is crazy to say, but
Well, I was just gonna say 2019 when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at least came out. We just finished freshman year of high school, and
Wow.
I don't know if you really remember, but I remember all the trailers and kind of ads for this movie.
I do not.
And funny enough, I didn't. Oh, I remember them pretty vividly. Funny enough though, I didn't. To this point, I hadn't seen any Tarantino movies, and I didn't go see this, obviously. But this was, I think this is one of the last dates my parents might have been would have went on before they got divorced.
Oh.
But they walked out of this movie, so they didn't finish it. I remember when they went to see it because I'm pretty sure it came out in the summertime, if I'm not mistaken. I remember they said they were going, and they said they didn't stay. And I know my mom; she's not a huge film person, and I feel like this film is definitely you kind of have to be a movie lover to kind of maybe like this movie and understand it. And my dad certainly his film knowledge is a little bit more than my mom's, but I don't think kind of the era of Hollywood that this film depicts. I don't think obviously he wasn't even born yet in 1969, but I don't think he was too aware of what kind of the story was going to be. I think they were more so just going off the fact that it was the new Tarantino movie, but that was a little side tangent. Jathan, you've seen this film a couple times. Do you remember what you felt when you kind of first watched it, what your expectations were?
Expectations. Honestly, I didn't really have too many going in. It's Quentin Tarantino, so I kind of just, I give him the keys. I'm like, okay, you've earned it. Like, I'm not gonna feel like putting on my detective goggles, see if this is a good film. So I enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
myself. I just remember like being in awe of like all of the films he's referencing. Like obviously I hadn't seen it, but I Quentin Tarantino obviously like a big thing with him is like how much homage he pays to old Hollywood and movies. And this film, like you said, like I think you definitely need to have an appreciation of film to get a full enjoyment out of this. Yeah, just I love the scenes where he's recreating the Hollywood scenes, like in The Great Escape, and then obviously inserting Leonardo DiCaprio's character in those shots. Uh, this is just Quentin Tarantino doing what he does. Like he the nonlinear narrative. One example I can think of is when Cliff Booth is on the roof after he drops Rick Dalton off at the Hollywood set, and he's fixing the satellite. And from a writer's perspective, I'm thinking like, okay, like how's this going to be entertaining? He's kind of doing something mundane. And once you think Quentin Tarantino like writes himself into a corner, he just like throws you for a curveball, and all of a sudden we're going on this wild story in Cliff Booth's head of when he fought this dude on set and he got kicked off, and it kind of gives you a bigger picture into why he's in the position he's in. So I think of this movie and I think of someone who is just at their game and doing what they do best, and that is paying homage to Hollywood, but also creating something new and entertaining.
Yeah. I just gotta say the guy he fought was Bruce Lee, so that was like
It was Bruce Lee.
kind of a big deal. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought the actor was playing Bruce Lee.
No, that was actually Bruce Lee.
That's another thing.
I,
There's so many people in this fucking movie. Like, I
I know. I was gonna get into it in a second. If I could just cut you off, we'll go right back to it.
go
We'll
for it.
go right back to it. I just want to say the first time I watched this movie was literally the month I downloaded Letterbox. And this movie was one that I've been wanting to watch at the time for a very long time. One of my favorite podcasts, film podcasts, Raiders of the Lost Podcast, they did a great episode on it. That month I downloaded Letterboxd, so I was like, fuck it, this is the time I need to watch it, and I loved it from the beginning. This was actually my second Tarantino film. The first one I ever watched was Pulp Fiction a few years before that. But yeah, the first time I watched it, I definitely loved it, but I didn't know the film history. I didn't know the film knowledge, so a lot of it went over my head. But getting back to what we were just talking about, there's a lot of people in this movie. Obviously, Bruce Lee is a very real guy, real actor that was, you know, popping in the 60s and 70s with his own movies. And then obviously he went to America to do a lot of, you know, he didn't make a lot of American movies, but he was in the Hollywood scene. Like you see it in this film, he teaches Sharon Tate kind of how to fight. He was the set that he fought Cliff Booth on. I don't know what film set that was, but I know that he did a lot of Green Hornet stuff. It might have been for the Green Hornet, which was a show. I'm pretty sure that was a show that aired in America, but I'm pretty sure it was probably that. But Bruce Lee's one of many real characters in this. Obviously, Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton, who are the main leads, Leo and Brad Pitt, are the main focal point of the story. They're fictional characters, but very much rooted in real Hollywood actors. But you get Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate. I don't know if there's any you want to rifle off, Jathan. I didn't want to cut you off. I just want to mention that real quick.
No, you're perfectly good. Like you said, just so many people in this movie, and honestly, like this movie, if you like ask someone if they're in it, I think it'd make good trivia. Completely skipped my
Mm-hmm.
mind that what's his name, Al Pacino. I'm like watching the opening credits. I'm like, fuck, I forgot Al Pacino's in this movie. Same with
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Russell. Just so many legends playing these characters in Hollywood who are being adapted for this film. Roman Polanski, we talked about earlier, he's a character in this film. Uh, Margot Robbie's character,
Steve
Sharon
McQueen.
Tate, Steve McQueen. Just a lot
Yeah.
of moving pieces in this film, but I don't think it's overwhelming. And when you rewatch this, it becomes refreshing. Um,
Yeah, but this was also kind of going on actors, not they weren't actually actors in real life, but some of the actors in real life played certain characters in this that weren't real life people, but they have really cool roles. Cool roles. Sorry, I think one of them obviously is not Margot. Jesus Christ, Margaret Qualley playing Pussycat, one of the Manson children. She has a pretty significant role in this, and I think at the time she had done some stuff, but this was definitely something that put her on the map. And then since then, she's been, killing it in a lot of movies. You have Sydney Sweeney is very briefly in this film. Who are some other younger actors that are pretty big names now? Obviously, Austin Butler.
Mikey
We
Madison.
knew who he was. Mike. Oh, yep, Mikey Madison. She plays. What is her uh, name in the movie?
Sadie.
Sadie. Oh, I thought she had a crazier name. Maya Hawke. Obviously, she's massive now with Stranger Things. You got Victoria Peretti, who I know has done a really big show. You got what's her name? Julia Butters, who plays Trudy, who is the little girl on the Lancer TV show set. She's amazing. It's just, I mean, I don't know who was in charge of getting all these young actors, because now a lot of them are, some of Hollywood's best, but they did a phenomenal job casting this movie, from like the legends you said, like Al Pacino and Kurt Russell, all the way to, at the time, like newcomers like Margaret Qualley and all of them. So it's this film obviously didn't come out that long ago, but it feels like a time capsule. Like it just feels like I kind of mentioned, I remember when the trailers and the promo for this movie was coming out, but I didn't know anything about it. I just know that Leo, Margot Robbie, and Brad Pitt were in it. But it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels just so kind of foreign now in movies. I don't know, and that's not me trying to be like doom and gloom about the movies that come out now, but this just felt like an event, and I didn't even go see it when it came out, but I just remember the kind of air surrounding it.
It
I don't know if
definitely
that's just
feels
because
like
maybe because
a celebration of film, just from all aspects. Like I think this film is only gonna age like wine, and I'm looking at it now. It's kind of shocking to me that this has an average rating of 3.8, but I can get it. I think it definitely is. In Quentin Tarantino, we're gonna talk about this on the next episode in terms of watchability.
you can keep going. I just gotta check something real quick.
Yeah. The next episode we plan on doing is going to be like a beginner's guide to films and stuff. And I think in terms of watchability, I wouldn't recommend Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as your first Quentin Tarantino film. But I think if you're at the stage of film watching that me and Nick are on, like you've seen hundreds of films at this point, this film is only going to get better. There's so many films that are referenced here throughout this film, and I'm gonna say the word film a million times, but man, like there's so much to go from off of here in terms of watchability. Like if you've seen the films they're referring to, I can only assume that your enjoyment of this is going to go up, or your at least your appreciation of this. Like I did see, Nick, before we hopped on here, that you watched the movie The Wrecking Crew, which is the movie that Sharon Tate appears in, and she watches in toward the middle of the film. Would you say that enhanced your enjoyment of the film?
I thought it would. That's the main reason why I did watch it when I decided to watch it. I think I watched it after my second or third watch of Once Upon a Time. The movie's not great, so I don't think it's really worth your time unless you want to really like get the history of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It definitely didn't enhance it, but I think it's just cool to see some of the movies that were coming out in that time period. Obviously, The Wrecking Crew. I don't even who did it. Phil Carlson directed. I'm not really familiar with him, but it wasn't like a top movie of that time. But I guess it's just cool to see what was coming out. Kind of mentioned that I earlier. You mentioned The Great Escape, which was a big movie of the 60s that they talk about a bunch. Another movie that Sharon Tate, she doesn't watch this movie in the theater, but the trailer plays, is the CC and Company movie, which is like a very much low budget, like B tier movie, C tier movie with Joe Namath, the football player. He stars in it, which is just kind of funny to watch. Valley of the Dolls, I mentioned. 2001: A Space Odyssey, they mentioned a little bit. Rosemary's Baby obviously is pretty heavily talked about in this film because this is the year after Rosemary's Baby came out, and that was a massive film of the late '60s, which is one of my personal favorite films. So there is a list on Letterboxd that I actually have saved that just has I think it's like 20 something movies that just showcase every movie that was either shown or talked about once upon a time. So if you want to do your homework, you can definitely find that list on Letterboxd. It's not hard to find. But yeah, it definitely didn't enhance my viewing. I think it was cool to see Sharon Tate in a role. I think I've only ever seen her in one movie, which I think is The Wrecking Crew. I do want to watch more of her movies, but yeah, definitely didn't enhance it. But I think it's cool. I think it's cool just to see that world. It's like the late '60s to now. We're living. It's two different worlds, and then obviously the Vietnam War. They talk about that a lot in the film. That was like that made a huge, obviously, impact on America. Not really in the sense of like maybe how post World War One and Two did with like the Great Depression and all that, but just kind of the psychological aspect of people. Obviously, either it could go one or two ways. Like a lot of people went, not a lot of people, but people went the bad route, like the Manson family and all that type of stuff. But then people went on the route of like, war and inequality is bad. But you kind of got two different extremes. But
Do you kind of want to go
yeah,
into the Manson family and the murder of Sharon Tate and why it's like so significant in its relevance to the film?
yeah, we can go into. If you want to lead off with it a little bit more, I don't know too much facts about it. I obviously know like the bare bone details, but yeah, let's go. Let's go into it.
So obviously, the Mansons, very crazy family. You get kind of a glimpse of them in this film. Uh, Charles Manson is the most notable member who he's a cult leader and he committed. I'm reading this off Google right now. He committed
Hmm.
a series of at least 9 murders between 4 locations in 1969, which is when the film takes place, and most notably the murder of Sharon Tate, who is Margot Robbie's character in this film. Um, she was 8.5 months pregnant. Uh, I don't remember if they kept that detail in the film.
They do.
Um, do you know why exactly they went after Sharon Tate?
I. It's either because they knew. So I'm sorry. Tarantino has talked about this a little bit. The group of people that actually killed Sharon Tate, I'm pretty sure was the same group that goes to kill Cliff Booth. Like, what's the Austin Butler's character Tex? I'm pretty sure he was the one, or at least in the group, that actually killed Sharon Tate. I think they either went to that street or went to her house on purpose because they were kind of sending the message to the Hollywood elites, like the people that have a lot of money, that live obviously these great lives. That you have men in Vietnam struggling, you have all these people struggling, but you people live like kings and queens and all that. I think that was kind of their. I mean, I'm sure there's more that goes into it, but I think that was kind of their, I guess, motive or message. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with this family, but I think they obviously tried to target people that were the quote unquote rich, popular, elite people. Um, I don't know if they knew Sharon Tate particularly lived there. I don't know if they knew she was pregnant, but it was obviously very significant
I
at the
honestly
time. And
haven't
obviously, this film,
done my due diligence and like do crazy research into it, but it's
neither have
obviously
I.
it's obviously a huge point in the film and just a shocker at the end of the film when they just give that title drop. But
Yeah. Like I said, the only stuff I've really heard about is Tarantino talk about the history of it in a podcast before. But there is a book called Helter Skelter that I really want to read that kind of goes into the Manson family and then what happened on that night. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that I really, really like and want to talk about. I don't know, is there a particular maybe storyline in this, Shaitan, that you want to start off with, or a particular scene, particular actor?
Let's do Brad Pitt's character because to me, I liked him the most in this film, and
Hmm.
obviously he's getting a spin-off TV show slash series with David Fincher. But um,
Movie.
oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, Cliff
Yeah.
Booth. Maybe go into his interactions with Margaret Qualley's character because obviously they set that up pretty early, but not you don't get that
Yep.
payoff just immediately.
Yeah, so Brad Pitt obviously seems like a guy that he killed his fucking wife, man. That's what Kurt Russell says in the movie. But yeah, he's obviously he probably was some war vet maybe. Did some military time. Obviously, he's a handyman, stuntman. He is part of Rick Dalton's life, not just because of a stuntman. He pretty much is his assistant, best friend, all wrapped in one. But yeah, so he sees Margaret Qualley's character a few times in passing on the highway. Oh, not on the highway, just the streets of LA. And the third time he actually sees them, they're actually going in the same direction. And it seems like it's going to be a very innocent kind of drive. Like Brad Pitt, obviously, he probably is attracted to her a little bit, but he says it in the film like, "Can you show me some form of ID?" And then obviously she can't because she's not 18 years old, and she's also part of the Manson family. I don't think they believe in anything government official. But yeah, it seemed like he was just trying to be nice, and obviously probably found her somewhat attractive, but it didn't seem like it was going to be anything too serious. But it kind of turns for the worse when she mentions that she lives at Spawn Ranch, and Spawn Movie Ranch was a place that Cliff Booth used to work at. So he obviously is super confused why she lives there and why her friends live there, because that's not what the place was used for. So he goes there, and this is the part of the film where I think Quentin Tarantino does some of his best directing, because the build up from when Cliff Booth gets there to when he goes and actually sees George Spahn, who owns the ranch, who is now an old man played by Bruce Dern. It's really unsettling because you don't know what the hell is going to happen. Obviously, as a viewer, you know that this is the Manson family. Um, but at that time, I don't think they had ever committed any big murder. So I don't know if Cliff Booth or anybody knew that they were like, serial killers. But Tarantino builds the tension really well here because they keep revealing stuff about George that Cliff Booth didn't know. They reveal that he's blind. He didn't know that. They reveal that he's supposedly taking a nap time. He didn't know that. They reveal that George lets them live here. They reveal that, they don't have to pay, they don't have to do it. They're just a community. So obviously Cliff Booth thinks that this is all bullshit and that they killed him and then something nefarious is going on. So the scene where he goes up to the house, I think, is so brilliant. And this is where you get introduced to Dakota Fanning, who plays Squeaky, who I think their interaction is great. I don't know if you wanted to say anything else about this too, but I think it's just really, really good, this whole sequence.
I'm mostly in agreement with Nick. I think that Cliff Booth's sections are my personal favorite. Not to diminish anyone
Hmm.
else's, but I just really like that story and just the adventures that he goes on and how he's introduced. The scene where he finally departs from Leo's character and he's just riding around in fucking old LA like that. That
Oh my God.
I've gone on several tangents at this point about how much I love cars, but man, like that to me was just like awesome. Like and that if you want to like be like, oh, why does Jathan like Hollywood? Why does Jathan like California so much? Those scenes to me explain a lot. Like you're just fucking riding around in this city that in a time period where there's so much going on, but there's so much freedom and you have the wind in your face. It's just like we definitely next time you come out here, you gotta come out here and just drive because it's different experience.
Yeah, I gotta say, I definitely, I'm an East Coast guy. I mean, obviously, I've grown up my whole life here, and I don't plan on changing that. But I will say when I did visit you in San Diego, it's how many years ago was that now? 3?
2 years. Let's
Yeah,
not
coming up.
flatter ourselves.
No, I think it's coming up on 3 years.
I think you're right, but that was sophomore year,
Because
right? Senior year.
I just turned 20 when I went to visit you. I think it was like the day after my birthday. But yeah, like 2.5 years. Um, when we did go out and just kind of like, explore and like when you took me to the beach and like some of the different places and like Old Town and when we drove to like In and Out, like I will say it's a different it's California's slower, it's more relaxing, it's a little bit more less fast paced, and I will say that aspect of it I really like.
Mhm.
And I think Cliff driving around and all that. I hate driving. Like obviously I have to drive a lot, but I fucking hate driving. It's in Massachusetts it sucks, but in California it's much more calm. The scenery is great. The weather is unbelievable. So I'll tip my cap to that. I'm not a big West Coast guy, but I'll tip my cap to that.
It really reminded me of when I was a kid and I first like visited California, and it's like just so bug-eyed because there's so much going on, but at the same time, I don't know, there's just this cool air, and you feel like you're right where you need to be. But
hmm Yeah, I really love the Cliff stuff, and I think, like you said, his introduction, not his introduction, but his like solo introduction once he gets away from Rick, and he goes to his he lives in like a trailer behind a drive-in movie place, which in a lot of ways I was like when I first watched it, I felt sad because obviously Rick lives in the Hollywood Hills and has enough money for that, but then Cliff has to go back to that. But he's a simple man. He doesn't give a fuck probably where he lives. He doesn't really care about much. He wears probably the same jeans every day. He wears those moccasin, not even real shoes. He drives like a shitty car, but and has his dog Brandy, which I think he just is a simple man and just happy for to just live in California because he obviously seems like a guy that had probably had a rough upbringing. I think Tarantino has said it, and actually, let me grab. I know I'm jumping all over the place.
no,
Um,
go for
But
it.
I have the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novel. I have not read it yet. I'm going to read it soon, but I know that kind of dives into the characters a little bit more. But yeah, I really like Cliff. I'm excited for the most part for the Cliff Booth Adventures movie. David Fincher has me intrigued, and obviously Tarantino wrote it. But yeah, I kind of wanted to say though. I know you said Cliff is kind of your favorite part of this film, and he's your favorite character. My favorite is Rick Dalton. I think this is the best. This is by far my favorite Leo performance as well. I think he is so unbelievable, and I don't think people really understand the layers that Leo is doing in here. He's playing an actor that is so insecure with himself, but kind of at the end of the day, he's a good actor, but he doesn't realize how good he is because he's so insecure. He's a drunk. He like, I think at the beginning of the film, right off the bat, when he meets with Al Pacino and they leave the restaurant and he starts crying in the parking lot and he's like, I gotta do fucking Italian movies, and he's like just breaks down and he's like kicking his car and like crying. I think it's so funny because he's an actor that is not really making it big in films, but he's playing the heavy in TV shows, which at the end of the day, like I said, I don't know the history too well, but once movies really started to take off in the 70s and a little bit in the 80s, TV was still obviously relevant. TV is always going to be relevant, but it definitely was switching because I feel like maybe the early 60s TV was still really popping, doing good. But once the 70s and 80s started to roll around, that's where movies and movie stars are really trying to excel. And Rick Dalton was not in that category. And he was kind of seeing his career flash before his eyes in that meeting with Al Pacino's character. So I think that's really funny. But his whole section of the film where he goes to set for the what is the show? The Lancer show. I think it's hilarious because he goes to set. He's fucking hungover, still drunk from the night before because he was drinking whiskey sours in his pool. But you just see him go through so much emotions when he meets up with the little girl Trudy, and she just absolutely destroys him. Like she's an 8-year-old girl. She's reading a Walt Disney biography. She's talking about how much the craft of acting, like you have to give so much to it. Like you can't just like kind of show up and do whatever. She likes to stay in character. And Rick is just flabbergasted. Like he's probably a 30, 40-year-old man, and this 8-year-old is just absolutely destroying him. Then he starts filming some scenes. He's flubbing his lines. And then my favorite part of the movie by far is when he has that freak out scene in his trailer where he rips the door open. He like just starts smashing the mirror and all that. And funny enough, that's one of the few, to my knowledge, one of the few times Tarantino let an actor improvise, because Tarantino, I think most people know, he's kind of a little insufferable, and whatever's on the script, that's what you got to do. There's really no arguing, and he's mentioned that a lot. So it was cool to see Leo, who, in my opinion, is one of the best actors of all time and one of my favorites, improvise that scene. But I have so much fun with it. And then obviously later in the day, when he's on set, you see him have that great scene inside the saloon where he plays what the director calls an evil, sexy Hamlet, and he has that great scene. And then the little girl goes up to him and he's like, "That's the best acting I've ever seen in my whole life." And he just breaks down in tears. Like, I really don't think people understand how good Leo was in this. Obviously, he got nominated for this role, but he's literally playing an actor that is a good actor, but he doesn't believe in himself. He has to play this insecure actor, but also he has to act good in the movie as Leonardo DiCaprio. He has to deliver a great performance, and it's just so layered, so good. And he just makes me laugh too. Like, people obviously talk about obviously One Battle was a very hilarious Leo role. Wolf of Wall Street's very funny, but this role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I die laughing every single time. I just think it's brilliant.
Very underrated, and it's funny because it's not like what is happening on screen that in the character's head is like what is funny, but just his reaction and how he's handling it is funny.
Yeah.
And it's been something we've been studying in the audience, or yeah, from the audience's perspective. Like, what about this scene makes it funny? But I think he's a very underappreciated comedic actor, and I think he's starting to lean into that more in the later stages of his career.
Yeah, I'm happy that people are just realizing it now. Because I certainly felt it for this film, and definitely Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street makes me cry laughing, but One Battle, I feel like people are really like, okay, this guy, he's a serious actor. Obviously, everybody's known that, but he can do very comedic stuff too. Yeah, and then briefly, I'll just talk about Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate. I don't know if you like. I've done a lot of. I don't want to say research on this film, but I've watched a lot of interviews of the actors in Tarantino, and I think when this film premiered at either the Cannes Film Festival or Venice, those are two separate ones, right? If I'm not wrong. So yeah, either one of those, whichever one it premiered at. When Tarantino, Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt, and Leo did their like panel for it, a lot of the heavy criticism coming out of it was that Margot Robbie didn't have enough lines, that she wasn't in the movie enough. And, Tarantino doesn't really take well to, some criticisms in his films, but I think he's totally right about what he said about this. Like, she's alone by herself for most of the film. Like, what the fuck do you want me to do about that? That's pretty much what he was saying. Like, she's at a movie theater and driving around LA by herself. What is she just supposed to talk to herself the whole movie? Because each of the main actors kind of have their own storyline for the bulk of the movie. And the bulk of Sharon Tate's part in this movie is she's alone. So I think that was a really stupid criticism. I think if Margot Robbie had if she had a concern about how many lines she was saying and she felt like she wasn't in the movie enough, she wouldn't have took the fucking role. So I think Margot Robbie is a phenomenal actress. I think she did a phenomenal job in this role. And I think it's even harder acting in a movie where you have to be alone by yourself for most of the scenes, and you're doing a nonverbal acting, because obviously like the movie theater stuff, the driving stuff, when she's at the bookstore, when she's just walking around LA, like that might seem like, oh, it's really easy to do, but it's not, because she has to embody a real person, plus she has to do all this acting on her own. I think she did a great job.
I agree. She definitely is playing a different role than usual, and her role in the story is to kind of serve as a break from the chaos that both Rick and Cliff are going on through, even though the conclusion of her story gets pretty chaotic too. But I disagree with that
Yeah,
criticism.
I think it's
That
really dumb.
she. Hmm. My question for you, Nick, is as someone who has seen pretty much 2,400 films at this point, compared to your last viewing, uh, because we're getting really meta today and talking about movies,
Hmm.
would you say that your knowledge of movies now transforms your viewing experience of this film, knowing the history and just how much goes into the process, as well as like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is your lens of this film because it's comparing itself to classic Hollywood.
Yeah, 100%. For two different reasons. One, the little bit quicker, easier one. Like we kind of mentioned, some of the movies that Tarantino talks about or reference in this movie, I have seen now, so it makes it even more rewarding. And I've done a little bit of research of the late '60s filming, like the Hollywood world. So that's a lot more rewarding now because, like I said, the first time I watched it, I liked it, but a lot of the stuff is going over my head because I didn't know the history of this time. So, watching over 2,000 movies now, I've built more of a appreciation. I understand a lot more stuff now. But kind of the second part to that, what you were saying is that I think just understand. You can probably speak to this too, because obviously this film showcases mostly with Rick's story, like how films are made, the difficulty. Like people just think it's, I'm not saying acting is the hardest job in the world, but any job, I don't care what you do, it has its difficulties. It's not always cake. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people just see the final product of movies and TV shows. And it seems like it's kind of probably easy, but these days on set are long days. Um, Acting is just one part of it. When you did your short film, to kind of shout you out on this, you played multiple hats. You directed it, you wrote it. You were pretty much a producer because you had to coordinate schedules. I'm sure you had to put some money and funding into this, into your short film. So there's so many different hats that go on for filming. And obviously, you see that very clearly in Rick Dalton's story when you see him on set of the Lancer TV show. But even if you can see what a lot of this is why I love physical media, another aspect. A lot of physical media has special features and it showcases, how they did certain shots, how like and it just goes into most of them have little documentaries. And I know for the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood they have it. Tarantino's a big practical filmmaker. He does not really believe in CGI or stuff like that. If he has to use it for certain stuff, he'll do it, but very minimal. When you see this film, obviously it looks like 1969 Hollywood. They built all of that. They have to build all of that. The shots on the highways where you see all the old cars driving around Cliff, they have to shut down those highways for a certain amount of time and insert 60s cars on the road. You can't have a 2015 Toyota Prius driving by because it's not going to make any sense. Like there's so much intricacy that goes into movies that this movie showcases, but I hope people, if you really like film, I think you should. I'm no expert. I'm not claiming to be. I'm definitely not. I still don't know a whole lot of stuff, but I think you should do your due diligence in realizing how much work goes into making movies. This film does a good job at showing it, and I think obviously the actors, the director, the studio, the producers, the writers of this movie are all those high upper echelon people. And I think, obviously being a fan of film, I try to do the best I can with understanding just how hard movies are. And I think it's very easy to write off movies. If you don't like something, you don't like it. That's fine. You don't have to like everything. But I always tip my cap to the people that make stuff because making movies and making TV shows is not easy. You just think about it in the sense of when you're at work and you're working with a big crew or you have a lot of people. Every job has, different departments and all that type of stuff. It's not easy to manage all those personalities and people have different motives. Some people are maybe just at the job just for the paycheck and they don't care about anybody around them. Some people probably really love their job and they actually love what they do. Some people go to work as a sense of community. The same applies for movie making. Like you hear about all these stories about, people not getting along on set. Like sets shutting down, scripts changing. Like it's like any other job. Shit happens. Like movies aren't just like this clear cut. We're gonna start here and end here. A lot of crazy stuff happens. So I think I know that was long winded, but this movie kind of peels back the curtain, and I think people who like this movie should peel back the curtain even more with other favorite films of theirs and just kind of learn about how the movie making process is.
Well said. And maybe my last talking point here before I just turn it over to you. Um, I don't know if you've said this on the podcast or your TikTok, but you've mentioned that you wouldn't mind if Quentin Tarantino did away with his 10 film rule and said this was his last film. Why do you say that?
Um, because I think if he is true to sticking to 10, which right now he technically is at 10, but he counts Kill Bill obviously as one. Um, I just don't think there's a better movie to end your career on than this, because Tarantino was a kid. I'm pretty sure he was born in like the late 60s, but he did obviously he grew up in LA and he was around this time period. Like I think this just embodies everything that Tarantino is a fan of. Like he's a huge I've done a lot of homework on Tarantino, just like listening to him in podcasts and his love of movies. He's like a movie encyclopedia, no matter if you like him or not. And this film is kind of a film encyclopedia. Like it showcases so much stuff. He he's a big fan of Bruce Lee. He puts Bruce Lee in this film. Leo and Brad Pitt are actors that he's worked with before. He obviously got them back for this film. It's just, and it just ends, and I kind of want to talk about this, and it has a big Tarantino violent ending that I think is one of the funnest, craziest endings in any film ever. Like, and this is my favorite Tarantino film by far. Kill Bill is very close. That film is fucking phenomenal. Pulp Fiction is very close. That film's phenomenal. He just has so many bangers. But this is, if you want to look at Tarantino and you want to pick something that describes him, I think it's this film perfectly. So I think, and he's also said, which this is something I'm not a fan of him for saying. He has been on record saying that 2019 was the last great year in film. That since then it really hasn't been good. He thinks theaters are dying and that they're not as good as they used to be, and he's not a big fan of streamers. Some of that stuff I can agree with, but also at the same time, I don't like this kind of one narrow view that he seems to kind of have, and it's a little egotistical in my opinion. Maybe it's not, just that's kind of how I interpret it. So I think, if he doesn't want to get on board with the way movies are made nowadays and kind of the world of cinema, I do not think there's a better film to end your career on if you want to stick to that 10 rule than this film. I don't know how you feel about that, but I wouldn't be mad if he said today that, I'll never make a movie again. Once Upon a Time is my last one.
I disagree with you there in terms of one, just having a rule for yourself as well as like ending it here. I think Quentin Tarantino, regardless of what you think of him, me personally, I think he needs to shut up just a little bit.
He has earned the
But
right, but
when
yeah.
exactly like you're such an esteemed filmmaker that why put a limit on yourself? Like I know you haven't seen this film, and I regret using this as an example, Nick. But if Steven Spielberg called it quits 10, 15 years ago, then we wouldn't have gotten the Fablemans. Like, why put that limit on yourself as a creative? Maybe take a pause in your career. You've done the heavy lifting. You can enjoy yourself a little bit, but I would enjoy it if he broke that rule and just kept creating just for his own sake.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to be there day one if he ever does come back, but I mean, he's still kind of behind the scenes a little bit, which is nice. Obviously, he wrote the Cliff Booth movie, which I don't know if you remember too much, but the Cliff Booth movie was technically going to be his 10th movie, but I think
Mm.
just some stuff happened, and I don't think he was getting the creative control he wanted. That's why I think he kind of just wrote it, passed it to David Fincher. But yeah, I mean, the only last thing I kind of want to quickly is just the ending. Obviously, it kind of rewrites history. Sharon Tate isn't the one that the Manson family goes after. They go to Rick's house instead, and this is where you see Brad Pitt's character fucking go crazy with the dog Brandy, and I think it's just so hilarious because Brad Pitt's obviously on an acid trip. and Leo's in the back pool, and he's just drinking away, coming back from Italy, and he just gets surprised when Mikey Madison's character breaks through the glass and he flamethrowers her, and it's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on it.
I just love the when we talk about creative vision on this channel, Quentin Tarantino exclaims that in this film. I mean, just talk about, you said it previously, he created a whole book just about the history of this world that he made. And we kind of talk about that in our screenwriting class, the idea of just creating a Bible of your film, a Bible of your film's world and story, and everything you possibly need to know. And we could go more into auteur theory, which is like having such a creative vision and stamp on a film that you can consider yourself the author of the film. But just great work. Shows how much power creativity has, and the vision. You see it now, 2026. We're getting a continuation of this world, which I think out of all of Tarantino's films that you could possibly explore for like something, a spin-off, whether it's a TV show, movie, whatever, I definitely think it's this one.
Yeah. What I just want to mention this real quick. I just remembered. So when Tarantino was first casting this movie and writing it, he was. I think I mentioned this to you when we watched Hateful Eight. Uh, that script got leaked, and he almost didn't make the Hateful Eight movie because he was so pissed off that it got leaked. So this film, he only wrote one copy. He only had one copy of it, and he would have people come to his house. They had to read it in the house in a locked room. No phones, no nothing. They couldn't take it with them. They couldn't take any notes on it. Like they couldn't bring in like a notepad. And he also had the ending of the film on a separate like script book, and he had to give that to them after they obviously finished like the first 2/3 of the movie. But two people in the film that were supposed to be in it, but ended up not being, Burt Reynolds, who I don't know how familiar you are with him, Jathan, but he passed away before they started making this movie. He was supposed to play George Spahn, who's played by Bruce Dern, which it's a small role, but Burt Reynolds is obviously, he was a actor kind of around this era and a little bit before and a little bit after as well. He's in Boogie Nights, the guy that's like the head honcho of the kind of filming porn house that Mark Wahlberg is at. And he's actually the one that came up with the line when they say to Cliff Booth, "Aren't you a little pretty to be a stuntman?" Burt Reynolds came up with that line. Tarantino said so. That's really cool. And then this drives me nuts to this day because I've tried to find so much information on this and it's just not out there. Jack Nicholson was on set for this movie and he filmed a scene, but nobody knows what really was filmed. Like I've looked on subreddit after subreddit after subreddit. I've looked for like if there's any behind the scenes anywhere. I've looked if Jack Nicholson has said anything, and it's just nowhere to be found. But it was reported by various people that were on the set that he was there and that he did film a scene. So I don't know if we'll ever see that footage or see who he was playing, but I think that's really cool because obviously Jack Nicholson is very old now and he's not really making movies anymore. But to see him in a Tarantino film would have been crazy. But yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that until well, actually, the podcast that I listened to, Raiders of the Lost podcast, they told me that when I first listened to them. But yeah, it's like super disclosed. Like, I don't know how they kept that information from not leaking of what character or what he filmed. But yeah, that's all I got on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I definitely rambled a lot. I'm sorry for that, but this film means so much to me. It's very close to my top 10. It didn't crack it. I do have my top 10 list on Letterboxd, but it's for sure top 15, top 20. I've seen it 10 times. I love watching it in the summer. I try to watch it multiple times in the summer. I just love it. I'm a fan of films, and I think this is like a wet dream if you're a fan of films. It's just phenomenal.
I kind of touched on this earlier when you weren't here, but me and Nick plan on making a beginner's guide to watching films, and I think that this film is definitely going to be towards the top of the pyramid in terms of how much experience you need to get full enjoyment, but I have it as a 5. I think it's a pretty easy 5 to give when you're as big a fan of film as we are. And yeah, we've talked about this film to ad nauseum, but
Yeah, I think this film
great
only
stuff.
is only better if you kind of do some homework beforehand in terms of like getting your movie watching up, and also like if you can try to watch movies of this era. I think it's only, you don't have to, but I think it just pays off a little bit better. But yeah. Um, so yeah, that's it on the film review. But our last thing today, which I'm pretty excited about, is a Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt draft. We're just gonna be doing, like, if you've seen our videos before, our normal draft style, just back and forth for me and Jathan. So all Leo and all Brad Pitt films are on the table here. So we're just gonna be going back and forth. I actually, do you want to do a snake draft? I think that's a little bit more interesting. So we can get back to back picks, or do you just want to go 1-1-1-1?
Uh, Snake works.
Okay. I'll let you decide. Do you want the first pick or do you want the second pick today?
I'll take the second pick because I feel like I know what your first pick is going to be.
Okay, yeah. I'm just on Letterboxd on my phone right now, pulling up both their filmographies just so I make sure I'm not overlooking anything. But my first pick is it's pretty unanimous. I think Jathan knows. 7. Top 2 film of all time for me. So actually, I'm not going to put the year. I don't know all the years, but yeah, 7 for sure.
With my back-to-back picks here, I'm gonna go with Fight Club as well as Wolf of Wall Street.
Do you want to briefly say why those two first and why Fight Club first, maybe?
Fight Club just recently got announced. It's getting its first 4K UHD. Just a crazy film. I won't go too much into depth if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, don't.
He plays a pretty crazy role, and the plot twist is pretty interesting. And I think it's highly influential, which is crazy to think about when you consider when it first released, it was considered a flop. But Wolf of Wall Street, I think this is Leo at his best. I think it's absolutely asinine that he did not win Best Actor here.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a boys' film, but I love it.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite Scorsese's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so these two pretty easy for me. I am gonna go Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Obviously, I think this is the only film that they're both in. We just talked about it. Obviously, I'm in love with this thing, and it is, in terms of both their filmographies, it is my second favorite. And then this one, I have to go. It's definitely, in terms of Leo performances, is definitely not up there. But this movie means so much to me. It's Inception. This is the first Nolan film I watched outside of the Dark Knight franchise, and I mean, this made me fall in love with Christopher Nolan. So I love Inception. I've seen it a bunch.
Mm-hmm. My picks here, I'm going to go with 2 Leo films. I'm going to go with Shutter Island.
Damn
and
it.
I'm going to go with The Departed.
God damn it. I was trying to see if I could snag Shutter Island later on, but yeah.
Again, another, both by Scorsese, but The Departed, obviously, Boston film, so, I'm going to love it. And it's a mafia, so I just love the action here, and it's really tense. The ending's insane, as well as Shutter Island. You could talk about that film forever. Again, another example of a film where the director is trying to ask for your interpretation.
Yeah. I think I'm going to show some love to Brad here. I feel like I could probably save one of these picks for later, because I'm not even sure if you've seen it, but I'll just grab it now. Babylon. This is another movie that, if you like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I don't see a world where you don't like Babylon. This is kind of, it shows the filmmaking, but this is from when it went from silent movies to what they call talkies, which is just normal movies now where you hear audio. And Brad Pitt plays a actor in it that he can't really adjust to the silent movies to the talkie movies, and he's great in it. Um, we'll be talking about this film at some point on the podcast for sure, Jathan. But Babylon is phenomenal, and I wish I saw it in theaters. Next, though, I've talked about this movie a lot. Me and Jathan both saw it together, but I could probably save it for later. But F1, it's just sometimes you just need a dumb, fun movie, and this is what F1 is. Just a thrill. Absolutely love it.
I'm gonna admit my fault here. I'm running a little low on Brad Pitt movies, so I'm just gonna go with two that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, I have Ocean's 11, and number 6, I have Moneyball.
Fuck. I knew you were gonna say Moneyball. I want to grab that later.
Ocean's 11, just a really fun heist film. Yeah, it's really fun, and it has comedic elements, but I think that it's just a nice ride. Turn off your brain film and very enjoyable. You've all probably seen it by now. Moneyball. I actually didn't know you've seen this film, Nick. I'm looking at it now, June 12th, 2024. Very underrated sports film. I think that as someone who, if they could go back to college, they would get a sports management degree and become that GM, that Brad Stevens type of character. I really like that number crunching and just pure mathematician and just salary cap finessing that he pulls off here. And honestly, if we were doing a performance ranking, I would have Brad Pitt and Moneyball at 2 or 3 because
I agree.
don't know. I think it's a different role than he usually plays, but he just sells me on this guy who's going to make sure that his team wins despite all the financial hardship against him.
Yeah, he's great. Moneyball is a great story in general, but I think he is probably, to me, the best part of it. Okay, I'm going to go to 2 Leo movies. There's one I'm going to leave on the table, and it's just because there's other performances in the movie I love more, but it's a great movie, but I have to grab these 2 now. I'd be pissed if I didn't grab them now. I'm going to go Django. It's just, I mean, back to Tarantino, it's great. And Leo in the movie he never played something like that before. Next, I don't know if you've seen this yet, Killers of the Flower Moon. So underrated in terms of a film and underrated of Jesus Christ, Leonardo DiCaprio. His character in this is a man that is, let's just say, complex. It's very, it's tough. It's tough to really root or wrap your head around how fucked up his character is. But great film, really underrated performance. I think he didn't get nominated this year. He did not, but he was great, really great.
Mm-hmm. I've seen, I want to say 40% of that film. My friend was watching it for a class, and he'll say himself he's not a big movie guy, but he that film had him pretty locked in. So yeah, I thought he's pretty decent in it from what I've seen. But my picks here, I'm gonna go with again 2 Leo films. I'm gonna go with Romeo and Juliet at number 7. And I'm going to go with Basketball Diaries at number 8. Romeo and Juliet, it's been a while since I've seen this. I remember watching it in my 8th grade English class. And I don't know. I just think he has a certain sauce in this film. Basketball Diaries, just some heart-wrenching performance here from Leo. Honestly, I think he carries it big time. I have it at a 4.5. It'll probably go down on a rewatch, but I was just really captivated by this young DiCaprio and his performance here. And I want to say it put him on the map relatively.
Yeah, that was definitely one of his earlier, like, really acclaimed ones. And I think from my last 2 Leo films, because I think my last Brad Pitt one you have not seen, so I think I can just grab that later. First, I'm going to go Catch Me If You Can. Psh, have you seen this yet or no?
I have. I'm not the biggest fan.
Oh, really? I thought you would, because I know you like Tom Hanks and obviously Leo. I adore this
You
movie.
would think, right?
This
I have it as a 3.
Oh, okay. I love it. I've only seen it once. That will definitely change soon because I'm going through a lot of Spielberg's filmography for the first time and rewatching. I think it's great. I think Leo is so confident in this role and it's very, very good. And then a film, I would say I don't know how much it would hold up on a rewatch. I don't know if I would love it as much, but certainly I think it's one of Leo's best performances is What's Eating Gilbert Grape. That movie is it's 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 tough to watch, but Leo's performance in it, I don't know how the hell he did that at such a young age. He plays a special needs kid, and I can't really wrap my head around how he did it. Because it's got to be hard to kind of accept that role because people might take it the wrong way, but it's great. He's just phenomenal. And I'm pretty sure I think that was his first Oscar nomination.
My last 2 picks here. I'm gonna go with number 9. I'll go with The Beach. I don't think you've seen this. This is probably one of his more underlooked films, but there's a lot that I like and I don't like about this film. But I don't know. I love seeing Leonardo DiCaprio characters crash out, and he's a little bit of a freak in this, but it was entertaining. I can't lie. And my last pick, for some reason, still on the board here. I'm gonna go with One Battle After Another.
I was saving it low key for you, but I was like, is this guy gonna pick it? I was like, is he even gonna pick it?
I low key skipped my mind, but obviously talked about this film a lot. We have a 2-hour episode on this film. Go check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in terms if I was doing this purely off like what films I rate the highest, I would have picked one. I would have tried to pick One Battle a little bit earlier. But I'm kind of going a little bit more performance here. And lastly, this is a Brad Pitt film that I love this movie so much. I don't think it's particularly one of his better roles. Not that he's bad in this. I just think he has a little bit better. But I just love this movie so much. Is Interview with a Vampire. I've said it on this podcast a bunch that I love vampire films, and I think this one's really great. I think Tom Cruise does kind of take the cake for best performance in this, but Brad Pitt's character is very good. But yeah, I'm very happy with my list. I think just some other ones that I love that I don't think either of us picked. Obviously, is Inglourious Bastards. I don't think you've seen that yet, but I just don't love.
Started it 4 times, never finished it.
Yeah, it's not my favorite Tarantino. I mean, it's great. Brad Pitt though is not. I don't even know if I would consider him like my top 3 favorite performance in that. I think he's great. It's just I don't know. It just something doesn't all the way work for me. But he's great in Fury. I think he's phenomenal in that. Burn After Reading is very good. And then for Leo, was there any major Leo ones that we didn't mention? Oh, The Revenant. Love The Revenant. Gangs in New York is pretty good, but I think Daniel Day-Lewis kind of shines a little bit more in Gangs in New York. But yeah,
I almost watched The Revenant the other day.
it's coming in theaters this next week.
I might have to check it out.
I would. If you can, I would. On the 26th and March 1st, IMAX. I would do it.
I don't know about you, but I don't know if they do this in Boston, but with A-list, the fan favorite stuff, like that has really been getting me in the theater lately, just checking out old stuff that I haven't seen.
Oh, yeah, they do that.
I reserved tomorrow. I'm going to go see Fruitvale Station.
Mm-hmm. I thought about it because I know probably for you today, too. Today they did Sinners at 4 o'clock and they did Fruitvale at 7 o'clock at my local AMC. Yeah, I think if you can see The Revenant, go see it. I might try it. I just watched it in September, in prep for One Battle because I was trying to finish Leo's filmography. That's a good fucking movie, dude. But yeah, that's all we got for episode 23. I feel like, this was a good groove episode to get us back. Yeah, I think we definitely needed it just in terms of getting back in kind of the feel of things, and obviously just I mean I love talking to this guy about just life and obviously about movies. This is my favorite thing to do and talk about. I say it a million times, so
Oh,
it's good to
thank you,
be
man.
yeah, it's good to be back recording. So yeah, that's all I got on today. If you want to close this out.
Well, you're like the Rick Dalton to my Cliff Booth, but
Yeah.
uh, please subscribe if you made it this far. Comment. Who's your favorite Brad Pitt slash Leo performance and why? So you know the rules by now. Letterboxd and socials are in the bottom left and right corner. Yeah, check us out there. Spotify, YouTube. That'll be it for episode 23. See you guys.
Yep.